All right, here we go. We have an underground Toronto legend in the building, Jimmy Yitty. How are you doing today, man?
Jimmy Yitty, I'm doing great. You know, it's a beautiful day. The weather is getting back to that summer vibe. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing good.
Yeah, man. You're like one of the most legendary Toronto artists out there. Even on that whole underground side, you know. I know that when it comes to the underground scene, and I'm not talking about the mainstream scene, you know.
Yeah.
You're probably one of the more consistent artists that I've heard so far as well too. And you know, you worked with someone that I'm actually pretty cool with, that I shot a while back, photo wise, at a show a while back, and then also I did a review on his tape, Dopeface. You know, you did some songs with him.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, Dopeface. You know, I've known him for I've known him for a long time. You know, we've done a lot of musical ventures together, and dope artist, really dope artist. Y'all should check him out.
Yeah, nah, no doubt, man. And aside from all the other stuff too, you worked with The Count, you worked with Josh Grant, who also worked with well-known Canadian artists like Jordan for a bit too, Terrell Morris, who's big right now in the scene too, and you know, honestly, you're probably more consistent than anyone I've ever heard right now, you know, with the Care Package series, the 33 project, you know, you're co-signed under Tommy Spitz too, which is also pretty dope, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a East York thing, you know what I mean, a whole East Side thing. You know, he also knows some of my family members also from, you know, the same hood over there. So Flemo, shout out to all the Flemo mandem. I also used to live there. My mom grew up there, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, shout out Tommy Spitz, shout out Terrell, shout out Josh, shout out Count. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of talent in the city. Shout out Tona as well. Me and him just dropped a music video a few days ago. What's today? Friday. So we just dropped that on Monday. You know, shout out to Complex Canada for the premiere. You know what I'm saying? You could check that record out on all streaming. It's at 50K streams right now. So yeah, man. Shout out Tona. Shout out Count. Shout out everybody.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No, regardless, but I want to get into your story for a bit too. So, you know, you said in the previous interview you were born in Scarborough.
Yeah.
And you were raised in in East York and all that. So which ends did you grow up by in Scarborough before you moved to East York?
So Scarborough, I was by Midland, you know, not too far from the General Hospital over there. I was living there with my mom and my sister, Sunshine. Hi, Sunny. You know, then around the time when I was 8 years old, I started to live with my father, and that's when we moved over to Coxwell and Danforth area. And yeah, that's where, you know, all of this kind of begins, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was the environment for you growing up in both areas? Would you say you had a very decent childhood back then, or would you say it was very different?
Well, one thing that I did notice that when I moved to, you know, East York, there's a lot more white people. That was a huge difference. You know, growing up with my mom, you know, my mom was young and, you know, on her own, and I think we actually lived with my grandpa at the time. You know, raising two kids, you know, it was hard, of course. I was born in 93, right? So, you know, when I'm around 5, 6, 7, you know, we're getting into the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, it definitely wasn't a piece of cake. It wasn't no cakewalk, that's for sure. Very different groups of people, I would say. And yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from other people's experiences moving to East York from my own experiences in Scarborough. Very different, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely know what you mean. And I know, you talked about 33 project, in which it was based out of, you know, 33 Coatsworth Crescent. So
Coatsworth.
So tell me, what was it like growing up in 33 Coatsworth Crescent? Do you have any crazy stories about that era you would like to share, man?
I mean, damn, we 8 million stories, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I got 8 million stories. You know what I'm saying? How is it going up there? I mean, like, you know, since I was young, maybe around like 11, 12 or whatever, I kind of, you know, just been in and out of the streets. Like, you know, I was kind of able to do whatever I wanted. You know, I was away from my mom, and my father wasn't there as much, you know. So yeah, I grew up around a group of men that, you know, I looked to as like family, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the things that I believe in to this day were inspired by these group of men, you know what I mean? You know, run-ins with the law, and, you know, obviously a lot of people know, like, you know, around like 2011, 2012, I was in and out of jail a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I've been living on my own since like 16, 17, right? So, but 33 Coatsworth, I mean, you can hear about a lot of the experiences in the project, you know what I'm saying? So go check that out. It's a little outdated, but if y'all want to go check that out, it's on all streaming platforms. Yeah.
Most definitely. I know, like, Scarborough was, like, very big, like, you know, even back then for music, but, like, with East York, was it also, like, well known for music at the time, just, like, being, like, an industry end, or just as a community in that sense?
Nah, I mean, like, and exactly, I think that's why, like, we have something so special with the whole East Yitty brand. You know what I'm saying? East York was the first borough in Toronto, and, you know, for the last few years, you know, a lot of the West End mans in the North York, which I love to call North Yitty, you know what I'm saying? The North York guys are holding it down. They've been holding it down for the last few years, you know. Shout out to all the men from the West End and North York, putting it down for the music scene. Back in the day, Scarborough really, really big, you know, really huge downtown at its time. But I think East York, East Yitty, is still an untapped area in regards to the music scene. I will say, you know, a lot of people from the music scene, like in Scarborough or North York and downtown or whatever, they've been in and out of East York, like, you know what I'm saying? But it just hasn't been put on that platform yet, and that's exactly why I'm here holding down the fucking fort, you dig?
Yeah, nah, most definitely, man.
Yeah, man.
So prior to Jimmy Yitty, you know, what was, like, your musical history and background like, and what inspired you to, like, rap and become, like, an artist and all that, you know?
What do you mean before Jimmy Yitty?
Like, you know, before you decided that you wanted to become a rapper, like, were you, like, listening to, like, music, like, in the home? Do you had, like, family back then, like, that were, like, into music, you know, that were, like, musicians?
Yeah. So, my brother, who's, you know, he's a few years older than me, you know, him including, like, the OGs of my area, the OGs on my block, like, Methodist and Cream, rest in peace, you know, Milk Crate, you know, those kind of guys put me on to, like, you know, the Nas and the Mobb Deeps and the Wu-Tangs and the Big L's, and, you know, that old school, like, hip-hop nowadays. People want to call it boom bap. I personally don't like that, but, you know, the boom bap, the New York, more specifically too, right? So I would say Mobb Deep, especially Prodigy, would be my number one influences in wanting to write music. Even like the brand, like East Yitty, like there's a song called New Yitty by Prodigy, and when I heard that song, like, that was just like, yo, I gotta bring that shit over here, man. That shit sound tight as hell. Like, we from East York. The slang Yitty is a slang for York out in New York, you know what I'm saying? So, but we the original York, you know what I'm saying? Y'all niggas, you know what I'm saying? Do your history, but we the original York, you know what I'm saying? We have East York, we have North York, we have Fort York, we have Old York. So, yeah, I would definitely say Prodigy. I started writing, like, from as early as I can remember, like maybe grade 7, grade 8. And, you know, we would just be on the block, me and the man them. And I remember the day, actually, when I decided I wanted to. And I remember I showed my boy Casey and O-Dog 2 of these raps that I wrote. It was in the third lane. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was in the third lane of Coatsworth. That's where we would smoke and drink and like just do fuck shit just to like get away from the cameras. And I remember Casey and Old Dog were like, yo, bro, like, you're sick, fam. Like, you should really do this. Like, da-da-da-da-da, you know? So the man brought me to the studio. We recorded my first song I ever recorded, Bring 'Em Up. And, you know, at the time, it did great, bro. Like, I remember in high school, I had, like, little white preppy girls in the hallway, like, rapping my verse. Like, you know what I'm saying? And when I seen that, it was just like, it was crazy because like the content I was rapping about, like I wouldn't expect somebody like that to listen, you know? So once I seen that, I was kind of like, yo, maybe I do have, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I do have something. Maybe I do got something for the gang, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I know that you talked about like in a previous interview that, you know, you were like influenced by like Kendrick Lamar, like Schoolboy Q, like, all these like other acts like back then. But as far as like, you know, wanting to work with someone like musically someday, like do you have any like one in mind that you want to work with and all that?
Yeah, and like not even just, it doesn't always have to be even just musically or like doing a feature with somebody. Like, you know, I always joke around, and it's not really a joke, but I would love to work with Drake as like an executive producer. I would love to executive produce one of his albums or something. Like a verse from him and a song with him would be sick, obviously. But I would love, like, I'm a creator, you know what I'm saying? I'm a visionary, like, I'm more into that stuff. Even, like, brands, like, you know, Smart Water. Like, I always wanted to do something with Smart Water and do some merch with them just to promote, like, drinking water consistently. But musically, I mean, like, I do so much different styles of music. Like, I would love to, you know, Rage Against the Machine is a group that lately I've just been like, yo, how can I get a song with Rage Against the fucking Machine? Like, I gotta somehow make that happen, right? But, you know, like, anybody and everybody, that's good. Like, I just want to make, like, great music, like, you know what I mean?